my colleagues have just been talking through some of the milestones for China's space development. You're involved in some of these mega constellation projects. Talk to us about the role GalaxySpace is playing in all this.
Okay, so GalaxySpace, we are a Chinese commercial company. We are into satellites, so we have some key technologies: satellites communication, satellites remote sensing. So we deliver some products. We also deliver satellites. So far, we have launched to the space for more than 40 satellites. And we are going to launch more in the space. China is actually growing very fast for constellations that you mentioned. There are several mega constellations coming up, and it's great that we are in this track and we are making efforts to make our products innovative, cost efficiency, so that we can actually also having more contract orders in the short term. And long term, we want to kind of also make more innovative products for different, let's say, clients, either domestically or globally. That's kind of the things we are doing right now.
Domestically, what are you seeing in terms of the tailwinds from the sort of government policy support and the ecosystem for the space industry in China?
Yeah, right now I think the policy side are really having a good environment, creating a good environment for private companies, especially commercial companies like ourselves. Because space industry is an industry that needs kind of the top policy structure, and which in China, the Chinese policy is also encourage the private sector to develop more, to involve more in the commercial business of space. And we are one of the company who are actually doing great. And in China, there is a central government level, there is a provincial level. I think each level of the administration are doing great to creating a good regulation structure for us. Okay. So companies like ourselves are really also enjoying this kind of overall macro environment to develop, to focus on industries.
So I wonder what the potential headwinds you foresee for the company might be in terms of you getting all these satellites up there, right? How are you getting your kit into space? How are you launching all of this?
Yeah, so for us, right now, we manufacture the satellites. We then source for the launchers to launch to the space. And we consider different options. Depends on different, let's say, rocket providers quotation or let's say the offers, right? But I think the biggest challenge right now in the industry is also regarding to international coordination. Right. Because for every spacecraft launched into the space, you need a kind of spectrum, you need a coordination among different players. That's where I think we are expecting for more collaboration with different players, either from the private sector or from the government sector. We need more collaboration with operators or the players from all over the world.
You talk about global players. This is a space, pun unintended, where US, European leaders, they have been leading in terms of the early deployment of satellites. What is China's and your company's edge in this?
I think for our company, we started from 2018 as a private company. So when we started, we evaluated where we can do the best. Then we found out that it's the key technology we should work on. So we started working on some of the key technologies in this industry. For example, the satellite communication technologies. So we have actually achieved very well technology breakthroughs in satellite broadband communication, in satellite direct-to-cell technologies, and also massive solar panel systems. That's the energy part for the satellites. So we make those technologies mature enough for deployment. And then one of the strengths of our company is we try to also make it cost effective.
Right.
So we built our in-house facilities, flexible smart factory to produce satellites. In that way, we reduce the cost without compromising any performances, so that we can actually meet the demand and develop the satellites in the long term. So that when we do it in a commercial way, we do it in a sustainable way. That's what we are looking at.
So could you give us ballpark figure on, compared to what else is in the market, how much cheaper are you able to make things?
Yeah, I think just use one example. There is a critical component of satellite called antenna, the antenna for communication. When we started in the market, such kind of antenna has a weight more than 7 kgs, 7 kilos. So with our innovation and our optimization of design of such kind of antennas, we successfully reduced the weight of the antenna, half of the original weight or the original mass. So which is a very big cost saving, because as we know that when we launch everything from ground to the space, it needs a very heavy charges on the launching services. So once we reduce the antennas to not even to up half of the original weight, we are actually reducing the cost of 50% through this angle only. And there is also another technical innovations which further reduce the cost while actually improve the performance of those antennas to improve the throughput of the satellite, which again is a cost saving against the original satellite communication. That's how we may make the satellite communication services more affordable than the original players or the traditional way.
That's a significant number in terms of cost savings. This is coming at a time where it's not just crucial in terms of governments backing the sector and perhaps giving the contracts, but the private sector, to your point earlier about commercialization. And I know that recently you guys had a contract with Thailand's telco, True. How important is that part of the business for you, and what are the key markets in Asia that you're exploring?
Yeah, right now, as a commercial company, we are still exploring the global market. Let's say we just get started. And but we have some unique offers. We have a constellation trial network where we have some satellites in the space. Using those satellites, we can actually conduct lots of validations of technology, also the applications of the satellite's internet. So with our collaboration in Thailand and other countries which are coming up, we are able to actually collaborate with the local players. Either it's the telecom player or it's the space players. We can actually collaborate to validate the technology and to actually apply our satellite internet in the local industry to looking for the needs or the demands, the real world use cases. Because in the end, we need the use cases to be commercialized, so that the use cases will use the satellite services. That's how the space industry gets its own commercial closed loop. We have to find the real demand, the real needs, and we also have to understand the pain points of those end users. So that's why we need to go to different countries to establish collaboration to get the right demands of the industry.
So what are the priority markets for you aside from Thailand?
Yeah, I think for us, we are open to all global markets, every single market. That's kind of our interest. But for now, based on our evaluation of, let's say, economics, population, the gap of connectivity, we are more looking at like Southeast Asia, Middle East, Africa, and Latin America. Those are the regions where the economy is actually going up, while there is still, some connectivity gap, or there are some kind of high value needed for satellite connectivity. That's where the major markets we are making efforts on.
At the same time, you'll have to make sure that the satellite and the terrestrial networks are integrated, right? To your point about maybe doing a bit more research in the market and with working with the telcos. So how is that going to play out? How are you making sure that there is that integration as we look from 5G to 6G?
Okay, that's really one of the critical issues, or one of the biggest potential of our satellite industry. I think the most commercialized industry in space industry is actually communication. When we moving forward, we want to create a network, a connectivity services that is ubiquitous, that is everywhere around the corner of the world. But this requires the integration of the space communication network with the terrestrial network. This integration actually needs more collaboration. The satellite industry needs to work, closely with the telecom industry, especially the telecom operators, because as I mentioned earlier, the frequency allocation, the spectrum, is one of the important things in this industry. We have to make sure in the first step that the space communication network does not interfere with the terrestrial network. We have to co-share the frequencies. But in the long run, with the integration of the space industry, a space-based communication network with the terrestrial network, then every one of us on the ground, we are enjoying the network, the smooth services around the corner of the world without getting any break. That's kind of the ultimate goal we are looking at with, let's say, 5G, or we call so-called 6G. Satellite communication network is going to be part of the communication system infrastructure.
Okay, Peter, one last question before we let you go. When it comes to space, the final frontier, we're always looking out for the next big thing. We know how this week, as soon as we could see another NASA project, Artemis 2, getting to around the moon, not to the moon, around the moon. You're excited about lunar exploration as well.
Yeah.
What is China's role in all this that you see?
I think the lunar exploration is actually a very big trend, and either from China side or from US side or from other countries side, I think most of the industry players and most of the ordinary people like you and me are all excited for the moon exploration. Going to the moon, I think, is going to be a dream come true for many people, not just in China, but also in other developing countries. So speaking from the China side, I think our country or the industry players are making very big progress. We are also did a lot for the deep lunar, exploration. And myself, as a fan of this industry, I'm looking forward that we will also have some another milestones. Getting to the moon or orbit around the moon first. Yeah.